a Primeau fan.
Thank you for having me.
Your fans are like,
what an honor to be here, Pete. You're a legend. You're a rock star.
I'm a legend in my own mind, said my wife.
If I can do it, anybody can do it.
I'm Mr. Selling from the Heart. What's this guy, Larry Levine, going to teach me about selling from the heart?
You are one of the most generous and authentic people around. And I think that's why you and your show are so attractive to people.
Welcome to the Primeau Show. It is episode 250, and we are here with Melanie Rembrandt, and we are going to show you how to skyrocket your sales with free public relation strategies. But before we do that, let's pay the bills really quickly. If you haven't bought my book, Sell a Million, what are you waiting for? 101 tips on how to sell another $1 million this year more profitably. It's more of a marketing and a business book than a sales book. If you want a sales book, I have a sales book for you. Over 43 years of my experience, but 10 other co-authors who contributed chapters. If you guys know Jeff Janakovo, Scott Vaughn, Chris Tahaney, Brent Batterman, Steve Carnes, Mark Klingenberg, Randy Thompson, the adjustable bed guru. They're all in this book and more. So grab this book. If you need to do sales meetings once a week, you have basically 3 years worth of sales meetings in this book. So grab it. I think it's a couple cups of coffee worth. I think it's $20, something ridiculous like that. But if you haven't bought my book, Selling Miles and Miles of Retail Selling Greatness, grab it. And I'd love to hear from you. What else? Chris, there we go. Guys, if you don't belong to the Mattress Industry Network group, they sponsor our show. It's a great group. I believe over 2,700 strong, maybe more. If you want to learn how to build, market, sell, and succeed in the mattress business, join this group. It's a great place to learn. And one of the loneliest jobs in the world is owning a store. And you can meet other store owners, you can meet VPs of sales, you can meet sales reps, you can meet owners of manufacturers that are in the group. It's a great group. You got to join it, and say hi to me when you get in the group. It's just, I can't recommend it highly enough, and it's free. So that's the best part. So without a further ado, Melanie, welcome to the show.
Hi, Pete. How are you?
I'm better than I deserve, and I would, I have to. So, we're going to be talking about public relations strategies, and that's really what Melanie is the best known for. But I have been blessed to sit next to her more often than not in our mastermind sessions. And I'm going to tell everybody that's listening to this, whether you're listening live or you're listening to the recording, Melanie is an extraordinary marketer, writer, author, and she is a student of business. And some of the most insightful things that I've gotten about my business came from Melanie. And I actually kind of get nervous when I'm in the hot seat and Melanie starts asking me questions, because they're going to be very penetrating questions. And just so you guys know, every one of you guys that went to the open house that we had a couple years ago, where we had the axe throwing contest, the axe throwing event, that was a question from Melanie. And she asked me, are you going to theme it? And I said, no. And as we talked our way through, we were 2 weeks out from the event. So we themed it at the last second. And I still have dealers talking to me about how much fun they had at our open house with throwing axes. And I think our theme was hit the target. So thank you, Melanie, for that. And thank you for your insights and being a great team member in our mastermind. I think it's for those of you who don't belong to a mastermind, a paid mastermind, you really should think about getting into one. And here's a little tip I'll give you. And Melanie, I'd like to get your take on this. Never join a mastermind unless that person is either Dan Kennedy or belongs to another mastermind. Because if they have not belonged to other masterminds, they really don't know how to run one, and they really don't have the knowledge and the expertise to really run an effective mastermind. Am I all washed up, or would you agree with that?
Well, first of all, Pete, thank you so much for the introduction. When you told people you were sitting next to me, I thought you were going to say, oh, she smells, she doesn't wear deodorant or something. So I'm glad it didn't go that direction. But you have to be, masterminds are great, but you have to pick the right ones with the right people who really have experience and have success stories and are willing to share information, because there are really good masterminds out there and there are really bad ones. So you have to check it out ahead of time.
Yep. Awesome. So Melanie, let's start at the beginning. Let's define public relations. What is public relations for the purpose of our conversations? And by the way, it's Friday afternoon and we are live. So if you guys have a question for Melanie, she will answer your question here for free. So jump in with any questions that you've got. So what is public relations?
Well, I get this a lot, and to keep it simple, it is all the communications you have with your public. So that means anytime you have any kind of communications internally with your staff and team members, or externally with potential customers, clients, and the media. So any kind of communications falls into public relations. It's the relations you have with your public.
So, most of our retailers, they're used to Facebook marketing, Instagram marketing, TikTok, whatever it happens to be. Years and years ago, everybody was on radio, TV, and in the newspaper, and it's kind of shifted. But public relations gives you a different aspect that you can't get with any other way of outreach. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes. So let's say you open up the newspaper and there's a big feature story and your competition is in there. It talks all about what he did this weekend helping charities, and there's all this great information about his store. And guess what? You're not mentioned anywhere. Anyone reading that is going to see that and think, wow, this is a great story. It is coming from somewhere else. It is third-party credibility because someone else is talking about you, or in this case, your competitor. And as soon as you pay for it, though, it's advertising. So public relations, when you do it organically, you don't pay for it. It is someone else talking about you. And if they are someone important to your target market, that's really great. So public relations is kind of a secret weapon, because let's say your feature story is in there and your competition isn't. That is brand awareness for you. It's that third-party credibility. And then it can also lead right into sales.
Yep. So when people start to do store owners are trying to get publicity, what are the common mistakes that you see them making? And obviously, like, how do we avoid making these mistakes?
Well, I always tell new clients to start small because you want to practice. If you've never done a media interview before, uh, if it's going to be on camera, you want to practice in advance and have someone videotape you so you can see what you look like, how you sound. And you also want to have any of your major talking points ready in advance because the media works very quickly. Your phone could ring in the next 5 minutes and it could be a local newspaper reporter wanting a story. Well, you better have your talking points ready. Maybe you have a little cheat sheet in your desk, or you just know what you're going to say. You have to be ready. So one of the mistakes I see is people are not ready and they just pick up the phone and start talking to the media. If a media member calls you, just tell them you need a minute. They'll want to talk to you right away. And you can either say, I will call you back in 5 minutes, or, I'll get right back to you. This gives you a minute to get your thoughts together, make sure you look okay, you don't have spinach in your teeth, and then you can call them back after taking a breath and you're ready. So you want to be prepared and just take a breath and not freak out when they call you and stay calm. And then if you do it with a local newspaper, let's say, you get used to it and then you get better and better. So when the national media calls, you'll be ready to go. So preparation is key. And you don't want to be sell. They want to hear the real story from a real human being. And that's where you come in. That's why they're talking to you. You're either the expert, you have great insights on a current trend or news story. So you want to keep it real.
As I'm kind of walking through this, well, Chris Dehaney. Hello, Chris. Store owners by default are their own director of public relations. How many of them look at it that it was a different story? Commodities versus providing a public service. Our industry will thrive when it chooses the latter rather than the former. Great show so far. Yeah, Chris, I'm going to let Melanie take a swing at that, and then I'm going to make a comment or just agree with Melanie if I'm smart.
Well, Chris, thank you for your comments. Yes, I don't think a lot of people don't know what public relations is, but it's really all about entertainment. It's about, when it comes to the media, they want an interesting story or they want the facts about something that's happening, a trend, an insight. So you want to provide value to them in an entertaining way that's factual. And then they'll call you back more to be an expert. But I don't think people think, oh, I need to talk about this very seriously and this is what's going on. And it's really just a human to human contact. Think about the interviews you see on TV and the ones that are good and the ones that are bad. So I think just looking at public relations is just talking to another human being and sharing some valuable information is the best way to go.
Yeah. And something that I would add to that, Chris, is, we teach our sales pros at retail to not be too eager to say salesy type things to customers, and to take a pause and really ask a really deep, insightful question and give answers that other salespeople don't give. And I think it's the same way in an interview. If you're going straight for your, I want to get my elevator pitch out there. Okay. I want to get my elevator pitch and I'm just going to regurgitate it as soon as I can, instead of kind of holding the horses and really delivering value, really talking about the human interest part of it. I mean, most of our store owners have compelling stories. I mean, they're great stories, but they don't tell them often enough. They want to tell them why they should come in and get the mattress because it's on sale and this, that, and the other, instead of talking about the real deal. And the real deal for me is we change people's lives, right? If someone's not getting a good night's sleep and they don't have an adjustable bed, they don't have a good set of sheets, they don't have a protector, they don't have a good pillows, they got 20-year-old pillows, and you get them all of that, and it's the right package for them, and it helps them wake up happy and pain-free, and it helps them to get a better night's sleep so they can be a better mother, father, daughter, student, fireman, policeman, whatever it is that they do in their life. That goes a long way with the public, because what customer out there doesn't want to be a better mother, a better father, a better whatever it is they do, a better teacher, a better salesperson for that matter, right? And one of the things that we have going on sometimes in our industry is we have a salesperson we're putting in front of people, and he or she's got raccoon eyes, and the customer sees that they haven't slept. And then you've got this whole thing going on. And if you have raccoon eyes, you got to figure out how to get rid of them, because you, as the owner, you need to be the picture of radiant health and energy. And this is fascinating. I love digging into this. So, Melanie, because we've worked together in a mastermind for a few years now, I know that you actually coach people, like you work with them one-on-one and get them ready. So I am sure that you've got some interesting stories you could tell us about people who maybe you're getting ready to put them in front of the camera, and there's I can't put you in front of the camera right now the way you are. We need to do something here. What are those some things that you had to do at the last second to kind of patch them up before you put them in front of the cameras?
Well, I had a horror story. These two guys, brand new client, they had a media interview come up. He was talking about Christmas and their sales and what they had going on. And they're like, oh yeah, we've done these media interviews a bunch of times. They're going to be great. And it's last minute. So I'm thinking, okay. They get on camera and the one guy freezes. He's got that deer in the headlights look, and he doesn't do anything. Fortunately, the other guy took over for him, and he was pretty good. So I learned a long time ago that if I don't know that they've had media training or have been in front of the camera, that they don't go on. And a lot of times too, they'll want to wear all their logo stuff, and you want to stay away from that. Again, it's the sales thing. I mean, they'll put, if you're on television, they usually put the name of your company, and you want to look professional. I mean, think about you being the person watching it. What would you want to see? So again, if you're not prepared, hold off, because as we all know, one little bad slip on the internet can go viral, and you certainly don't want a PR nightmare on your hands from one little media interview. So just be really careful. And something to watch out for too. A lot of clients get really excited. Oh, we just got interviewed by the local news, and they tell all their friends, they tell their clients, they send out emails. No. Because at the last minute, there might be a news story and you get edited out. How embarrassing, because you've told everyone you're going to be on the local news and then you're not. So do not tell anyone about your media interview until it's actually live, in print. You can see it, hold it, link to it. You'll save yourself a lot of embarrassment.
You guys got that? I don't want this to slip by anybody. Do not tell anybody until after you have verified that it ran and you have the links and you can provide those, and then you can go blast it out with emails and social media and everything else. Melanie just saved you guys and gals a lot of embarrassment. Thank you. I would have never thought about that.
Well, you have to remember you're dealing with the media, and your story could be cut because you look like the producer's ex-wife or ex-husband, or they have, it happens, and they have a big advertiser coming. You never know. You have no control over it, but you're not paying for it. So if you get one media hit, it could be worth thousands of dollars in advertising. So if you follow the rules, it can be very cost effective and worthwhile. But If you're not ready and you screw up, it can go the opposite direction.
Mm. So when you're working with private clients and you're kind of getting them ready, what are some of the tips that you give them? Give us a little inside baseball.
To take a breath and slow down. Also, we go over clothing, and it just depends. If it's a very corporate business story, you want to look the part. If you are a farmer out in the field, you certainly don't want to put on a suit for your media interview. So we look at that. What is the value you're providing? What kind of solutions are you providing? Because you want the reporter and producers to like you, to call you back. You want to be the expert in your industry. So there is really a lot of preparation in advance. And also you have to work very quickly with the media. If they call you and say they want to interview you, they have a deadline. You need to get back to them or they're going to go to your competition. So you always have to be ready. And that means, looking presentable. Maybe the day you didn't shave or the day you didn't do your hair is the day the big media interview comes in. So you have to be ready at all times. And if that media interview comes through, you work very quickly. So you have to be prepared. And that means knowing what your talking points are. And also something big too, if you don't know the answer to a question that a media member is asking you, please do not lie or make something up. You just say, I don't have that information now, but I will get it to you. And then make sure you get it to them later. You want to avoid saying no comment or off the record. There is nothing off the record, so avoid that.
So coach us up on off the record a little bit more, because I think that's an area where somebody could get in a lot of trouble, because I think that just broad strokes, us as human beings, we assume everybody else is just like us. We assume that they're nice, they're honest, they would never do anything to hurt you. And the cold, hard reality is they're not for you or against you. They're just out for themselves. And your job is to be the best answer for what they want. And going back to your point that you made earlier, they want interesting stories. They want entertaining stories. And if your story isn't entertaining and it's not interesting, it's going to get bumped, even if you don't look like somebody's ex-wife or ex-husband.
Right. And it's all about control. You want to control the situation. You want one spokesperson at your office. They are the people who talk to the media. So if you have an administrative assistant or receptionist and a media calls, do not have that person talk to the media. They can say one little thing or post something on social media you know nothing about, and all of a sudden the media might be calling you, and you might have a PR crisis a communications crisis on your hands. So you really got to control the situation and know that everyone on your team knows any media member calls at all, they get through to you. They do not talk to that person. You have a main spokesperson, because that person's ready, trained, knows what to say, what not to say. And you want to control the situation as much as you can, because it will happen quickly.
That's great. Chris Dehaney. Hey, thank you, Chris. Huge advice from Melanie right here relative to our industry. Look at the example of Miracle Mattress in Texas about 10 years ago. They've atoned for it and should be forgiven, but one bit of content outside of the awareness of the owner turned into a national PR disaster. I have forgotten about it. So, okay. I got it. Yeah. 100%, Chris. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. So as you're coaching people up, I'm just curious. I just have to ask this question. Maybe I shouldn't, but was there ever a time when you said, I don't think you should go forward and be the spokesperson? I think the person right next to you will do a better job. Have you ever had to do that?
Yes, There are a lot of CEOs and heads of businesses and stores that are introverts, and they'll freeze up. They don't feel comfortable in that media situation. Maybe they're great at sales, working with customers, but when it comes to media, it's very different. So there might be someone who just is more personable when it comes to a media interview, is really good off the cuff, saying the right thing. So yes, I find out who the spokesperson is going to be, and if it's the shy CEO who doesn't like to talk, no, they're not going to be the spokesperson. You want to ensure though that it's not the marketing person, because you instantly lose credibility. They usually want to talk to the CEO or owner of the business. And that's why you don't see a lot of PR people being interviewed, because you instantly lose credibility because, oh, that's your publicist. That's your sales and marketing person talking. So it's really good to have the owner of the company or the person in charge.
So Melanie, just to explain a little bit more about Chris Tahaney's comment, Miracle Mattress had a 9/11 sale right after the tower collapsed. 9/11. Yeah, it was. They called it a twin tower sale. It, needless to say, did not play well.
Not a good idea. And sometimes you might think it's a great idea and something might flop on you. You have to take action immediately. Just start communicating. We're so sorry. You have to have a crisis communication website page ready to go, like a letter from the CEO apologizing. You want to start getting positive press to push down all the negative press that's online. You really need a crisis communications plan ready to go if something like that happens. And it could happen without you knowing it. Like I said, an employee could post something innocently on social media that you know nothing about, and it can take off. So
All
you
right.
have to be ready for that.
So I think we just stumbled on some real gold here, Melanie. A crisis communication plan. My bet is, Chris, what do you think? How many of our retailers have a crisis communication plan? I bet you Jeff Janakovo has one. Scott Vaughn might have one. Mattress Firm might have one. They may not. I don't know of anyone else that has a. So talk about this a little bit, because it sounds like having some basic guardrails, like when things are going off the rails, would be like a really great idea.
Right. You want to be ready. It's just like any emergency plan that you have for fire, hurricanes, tornado, what have you. Because if you're not ready and the media shows up, they're going to start taking video and interviewing people. And then it can seriously ruin your reputation and possibly take your business down. You may or may not be able to recover from that. So it's really important. Hopefully you'll never have to use it, but you've got to have the spokesperson ready to be very honest and upfront. What are you going to say? If you need to apologize, how are you going to say that and to whom? What are you going to do to remedy the situation? If you can't remedy it, what is the next step? You have to, think about all of these things. And there are things you can do to start repairing your image from a PR nightmare. But if you do it the wrong way, it can seriously affect your business reputation for a very long time.
And so the spokesperson is predetermined, right? We like our president, he is an introvert. We don't want to put him in front of camera. We don't want to put him in front of anybody ever. He's really good at what he does, but he's just doesn't give anybody warm fuzzies, and he's not comfortable himself with doing it. So the spokesperson's predetermined, and some of the first basic actions are pretty much predetermined, right?
Right. You want to have talking points in place that you can say at any time that sound very natural. You want to be ready to respond to different media questions. They might try to do a bait and switch on you. There's certain things you can do. There's something called bridging, where you bridge from one response into another one. So that involves media training, so that you can control the situation as much as possible. It helps too, so that you can get the right sound bites out there. You want to say the right things so that you're quoted correctly. And it's very much a preparation thing. And also, if you do see an error in a story, you can request that it is edited, updated accordingly.
Yeah, and that goes right to being an advocate for your business, right? And understanding that you don't just have to sit here and take it and be a victim. If something's not right, you need to use the resources that are available to you to correct it.
Yes, it's like any business situation. I mean, if someone does something wrong within your business, you take action. Same with the media. They need your story, so you do have some power there. Obviously, it's very difficult to change a video or something that's already out there. And a lot of times in a newspaper, it's a little bitty quote at the bottom that this information was wrong and we updated it. But at least you can do that, and you can take action on your website, maybe write an article or blog or something like that to remedy the situation. But if you don't know any of this in advance, you're not going to be ready. And if a crisis communication happens, you want to start on it right away, because it's going to get bigger and bigger and more negative, and you're going to be focused on that. It's taking time away from your sales and your team. So it's important to have it in place, because it can get out of control. Hopefully you'll never use it, but it's important.
That's awesome. So I have a question for you. What are the common mistakes that you would see in PR situations? Say I'm a store owner. I have one store, and now I'm opening a second store, and I'm trying to make a big splash about the second store. What are some of the mistakes that you see when people approach that strictly from their viewpoint, and they don't take in consideration the consumer's viewpoint, and they don't take into consideration the media standpoint?
Well, a lot of times you just want to save money. And I get inundated with these emails and messages every day. We'll get your company all over the internet. We'll do your press release. We'll also do XYZ. Be very careful. You usually get what you pay for, and there are hundreds of media distribution services out there. If you run into a tech company that says, oh, we'll do your SEO, we'll do your press releases, we'll do all your content, do not let them. Technical people are great technicians. Communicators have been trained in, let's say, Dan Kennedy style copywriting. It's a certain kind of copy that's written to sell. So your content people and your public relations communicators, very different than your tech people. So yes, you might save money now, but in the future, if you have a PR nightmare happen, you're going to be in trouble. And a lot of times too, you've got to be very careful, these press release distribution services, because they will create websites to make it look like your press release was on more sites. And some of the technicians too will just use templates. I actually was doing some search engine optimization for a client in public relations. There's something fishy going on with the SEO. So I called their technician, and I said, and I kind of found out some things. He said, are you doing the search engine optimization for our client and the exact same type of client across the street in New York City? He goes, yeah. I said, don't you think that's unethical? He's like, dude, I split the keywords, so I give half of them to one client and half to the other. I'm saying, no, you don't want that. So I went back to my client, and needless to say, she's not working with that guy anymore. But this is what can happen if you don't know what's going on, and you're just like, oh, they're doing my technology and the results look great. They might not be. And I hate to say that so many people come to me after being ripped off, and I get the word out there, because you've got a million things to do, and this offer comes across, it sounds fantastic, and you take it, but please be very careful.
That's great advice. That's that's a literal horror story. I split the keywords half and half. It's like, dude, oh my Lord.
I mean, my client, I mean, you wouldn't know unless you knew some technology and what was going on. So it happens all the time. I mean, it's pretty easy to do.
One of the best grand opening PRs that I saw was really kind of going into the idea that this new community that we're putting a store in has supported us from the very beginning, and we really wanted to get closer to them and make it easier for them to do business with us. And they portrayed it like we're doing you a favor, which is really a good way to do it. And then they went into the whole buying power thing. We'll have more volume. We'll be able to give you more great values, blah, blah, blah. But it was almost like it was thank you for this community already supporting us. And I thought, that's clever. That's smart, because I think most people that have lived in any community for any period of time, they start to identify with that community, right? And the fact that you're opening a store there and making sure that you're received in the right way, just beating yourself on the chest and saying we have more buying power is, that could be the cherry on top of the whipped cream, on top of the ice cream, but or the cake. It's not the cake. It has to be about the people, and it has to be about supporting the people, helping them get a great night's sleep, helping them wake up happy and pain-free, helping them possibly live longer, or at least putting more years and more life into the years that they have, right?
Right. And again, it goes back to the human element. I'm going to give you a huge tip for your new store launches. Look around at the local community to see who complements your service, because they have their own mailing lists, and you can share the workload, the cost, the mailing list, the promotion. The other thing you can do is connect with a local charity. Media love charity events. And you immediately look like you are trying to fit in with the community, actually help the community. It's not about mattress. It's about, hey, we are joining this community. We want to meet you. We are human beings. We're helping out this charity. We're working with Bob's Flannel Sheet Store. You have, think about it in advance. If you plan way in advance, but you can do it cost effectively by just sharing the load. And then, of course, you promote it to the media, this big community event. And then you're the ones who are hosting it, so you get most of the publicity. But no one cares about you launching a new store in the community. They care about, what is this going to do to the community? How are you going to help us? Why should I even go in your store? Who are the people behind the business? If you think of it completely differently in that way, you're going to have a lot better results.
So here's a question, Melanie. Chamber of Commerce or go knock on doors?
Not all Chamber of Commerce are equal. I would go after every route you can. If it's local, you want to knock on doors. You want them to be, they don't know who you are. You have to make them aware. That might be direct mail with postcards, handouts at the local grocery store, some kind of event. And then you test it, see what's working and what's not working. Spend your money and time accordingly, and be creative. I mean, look at what the competition is doing and do the opposites. If there's no competition, try all kinds of different things to see what works.
Yeah, one of the best cross promotions I ever saw for a small furniture store in Rensselaer, Indiana was actually with a McDonald's, and it worked. And then he ended up taking it to an automobile dealership, and it worked there too. And it worked out for both parties. Everybody was super happy. Both got plus customers at very reasonable costs. And often you can get a manufacturer. I was with Serta, and we gave them back then, this is 30 years ago, a free $5.99 Serta Perfect Sleeper, which back then was like something like a $14.99 today.
Right, right.
But the dealer had no cost in it. We sponsored it. He came to us. He said, "This is what I'd like you to do. This is what I'm doing." And, it was a reasonable ask. And we did it several times with him. And we were very pleased with the increase in sales. The only thing that I would say to you as a store owner, if you're going to your manufacturers and you're asking for support and you are promising results, deliver at least what you promised. If you can't promise anything, make it abundantly clear that you're working as hard as you can to make sure that you give them an increase in business for the extra costs that they just helped you offset. So what would you add to that?
You want to have fun with it too. I mean, how fun to have an event with the local community or something that have to do with animals or a charity. I mean, it's just more fun, and it gets your team working together. And then obviously the media are going to be interested in something that's fun that involves the local community. So, think outside the box, have some fun with it, enjoy it, brainstorm with your team members. And it comes across as human, and you're actually enjoying it. So it shouldn't be something that you have to do. It should be something enjoyable.
I'm glad that you brought up charities, because I think charities sometimes get overlooked. And when we look at who's winning and who's losing in today's business environment, it is overwhelmingly the dealers and the stores that have deep roots in the community, who have always participated in charities and in all the local sports teams and different things. They're just anchored into the community. They're having a lot more success than those who chose to save a few dollars and didn't put the effort into really becoming part of the community. I think that's something that often gets missing. And I think it's actually bigger in a retail environment than it is probably in any other business. Being anchored into that community can pay dividends, and charities is a big part of that. So don't be bashful about that. Now, here's a question I have for you, Melanie. And I'm going to tell you what I did, and you're going to coach me up and tell me, Pete, you were an idiot. You shouldn't have said that. So I had this dealer in Zanesville, Ohio, who was super active in the community. And, basically he would not promote it on social media. Like, he had his private page, and on his private page, he promoted all the stuff that he was doing. He did stuff with the football team. He did stuff with the police organizations. He did all kinds of stuff with all kinds of people. It was really just breathtaking that somebody could do all this stuff. And he did it for years. But he would never post it on his Facebook for his business. And I said, why aren't you doing that? He goes, I'm not doing it for that reason. And so this is what I said to him, Melanie. So coach me up. Maybe I was wrong. I said, Jim, for God's sake, promote the crap out of it, because there's a local business who's wondering if they should do some of these things. And when they see you doing it, they're like, it's okay. I should be doing this too. And I know that you're not doing it to get more business. You're doing it because you want to be part of the community. You want to say thank you to the community, and your heart's in the right place. But I think you could inspire other people, other businesses to be more charitable, to give more of their time and their money to the community if you would just put it out there. Coach me up.
Well, a lot of people do not like to have their personal activities on Facebook. So you might hit a brick wall if he was like, no, 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 you find somebody else who does that. But again, it goes back to the human element. And it has been shown over and over again recently that the best Facebook posts don't have anything to do with sales. They don't have links in it. It's the people behind it, out at the football game, at their daughter's Girl Scout sale. People want to do business with human beings. And also this helps you fight AI, because AI does not have emotional intelligence. And that is what sells. It is, the personal stories, your insights, how you feel about a news trend in the industry. That's the information the media want, and that's the information your potential customers want and anyone you work with. And also potential new hires. They're going to go online. They want to work with a cool company. And if you show like your employee chili cook-off, or you're involved in the community, they want to work there. So you end up attracting really good hires. So there's something to be said about sharing on Facebook, but you will get people who just don't feel comfortable at all. So then you find someone else who is comfortable doing it.
Got it. So Melanie, we have been talking for almost 40 minutes. No, we have been talking for 47 minutes, and we are starting to get to the end of our show. And I want to make sure that there wasn't a question that I should have asked you that I didn't ask you. Is there a question that you would think a store owner would want to know about public relations that I just like flubbed up and I didn't ask you that question?
Well, the first thing you're going to say is, I don't have a budget to hire a big PR agency. And I've worked with nonprofits, mom and pop stores, all the way up to Fortune 500 companies and celebrities, and even a president of the United States. And that's why I wrote my book, Simple Publicity. You can buy the book. It walks you through step by step what you need to do your own public relations. It's a lot of work, but that's why I wrote the book. Also, if you go to my website, I offer a free report on how to ace your next media interview, completely free. You can sign up for my newsletter, get tips on a monthly basis. So that's one of the questions I get is, hey, I can't afford a big agency. And that's fine, because if you do it yourself, the media want to talk to you. So if you do a good job at it, you can create your own publicity. It is a lot of time, effort, and work though. But that's one of the questions I get. Melanie, I just can't afford PR services. So that's why I created the book.
Your book, Simple Publicity, does it help the reader avoid some of the pitfalls that they might fall into if they hadn't read it?
Yes, there are some big myths about public relations, and it really does tell you what to avoid doing. And some of the things I mentioned, it goes through what to wear on an interview, how to prepare, what to take with you. So really just the basics. And this information doesn't change, technology changes, but it's basic information, and it walks you through how to write a press release, how to get it out there. So I just wanted to get that book out there because it just provides a toolkit of this is what you need to do.
Melanie, I just read, Chris, go ahead and put that back up there, because I just read something that the copy was so good. Don't order this unless you want to skyrocket your sales. Hold on. Where was it? Increase your sales. Where? Chris, keep going. Don't order this book. It was such good copy.
I think that's on the back of the book.
Don't read this book unless you want to boost sales, awareness, and credibility for your business right away. That is so good.
Thank you.
I can believe you were magna cum laude. I can believe it because that is fabulous copy right there. That really
Well, thank
is.
you. I've been writing a long time. I've had some very good mentors, including Dan Kennedy, and I love to write. So thank you. That means a lot to me that you like my statement there.
So good. I mean, I'm doing the squirrel thing, and I'm like, Chris, you got to go back there. Andrew Burt says, this is great, Melanie Rembrandt. Fight AI with emotional intelligence. Brilliant. Totally stealing this one. You should steal it. And I'm stealing it too, brother. I'm stealing that. That is so good. You know, we are with these darn things, right? We're surrounded by these things and we think we're connected, but we're literally drowning in an ocean of loneliness. People are not connecting the way they should. And if you, with your public relations and all of your communication efforts, start to tug on the heartstrings of your customer with emotional intelligence, you're going to get a lot further than you are with 100% off sale. Whatever, I'm just being ridiculous now, but we have something in our industry. The outcomes are incredible. If we do our job right in a mattress store or a furniture store, we can help people have healthier, more productive lives, happier lives. Nobody is happy if they're not getting a good night's sleep. You're not happy. You're not radiant. You're not emotionally healthy. And the only thing that you can ever give to another human being is what you have inside of you. And if what you have inside of you is so worn out because you can't even get a good night's sleep, you've got nothing to give. So the outcomes that we can give to our customers are like through the roof. And we sit there and we talk about this sale and that sale instead of the end result, which can be so fabulous. So listen, guys, if you have a last question for Melanie, we'll take it. If not, we're probably going to skip out of here because Melanie has a hard stop here at 4. Andrew, Chris, and anyone else that tried to get in, but for some reason we didn't see your comment. Thank you guys for all of your great questions and comments. And yeah, Krista Haney, that Miracle Mattress Twin Tower thing, I had completely forgot about that thing. That was a horrible wipeout. And so, guys, buy simple publicity and avoid making these blunders. Like if you're going to do PR by yourself, which a lot of single stores feel like they have to do, at least do it educated. Grab that book, Simple Publicity. And Melanie, if somebody's watching this and they have they want to get a hold of you, how do they reach out to you? How do they get a hold of you, Melanie?
My website is my last name, RembrandtWrites.com. You can do a search for Melanie Rembrandt. I will come up, and my contact information is on there. If you need to reach me, you can send a question or call. I'll get back to you as soon as I can, or have one of my team members get back to you. And yes, if I do like to help the small business owner. I'm an entrepreneur just like you. Started my business over 20 years ago with my own blood, sweat, and tears. So there's a big portion of my heart that goes out to entrepreneurs and small business owners. So I know what you're going through. So hopefully you'll get some valuable information from my website and the book and my blogs, etc.
Well, anybody that watched this got a lot of valuable information. I learned a bunch of things. And so thank you, Melanie. I appreciate you. You know, I've been so a little inside baseball, everybody that's watching this. I've been trying to get Melanie on this show for a couple of years. And she finally said yes. So thank you, Melanie. I appreciate you. I know you are super busy and it's hard to make an hour, you know, to take an hour of your time, but we really appreciate everything that you gave to us today. And guys, get a crisis communication plan, figure out who the spokesperson's going to be, and no spinach in the teeth. All right. I was paying attention, Melanie. I got notes.
Pete, I wasn't going to say anything, but you know.
Yeah, just a little bit. Breathe,
well,
slow down, wear the appropriate attire, get control of the situation to the degree that you can. And part of that is thinking about these situations before they arise. So guys, reach out to Melanie. And Melanie, thank you so much. I appreciate you more than you know.
Thank you so much, Pete, for having me. This was a lot of fun, and hopefully I provided some valuable insights for your viewers.
You have. Thank you so much. Take care.
You take care too. Thank you. Bye-bye.